In the name of Allah, the entirely merciful, the especially merciful. By those winds scattering dust, dispersing.
Affirmation of afterlife. The subject matter of Surah Adh-Dhariyat, like its predecessor Surah Kahf, is mainly the hereafter, resurrection, reckoning, judgment, and Allah's reward and punishment. The first few verses contain an oath from Allah that the promise of resurrection is true and shall come to pass. In these verses Allah swears an oath by 4 phenomena as follows: I swear by those winds that scatter dust, then by those clouds that bear loads, then by those boats that sail with ease, then by those angels who distribute things. Surah Adh-Dhariyat, Ayah 1-4. There is a hadith whose attribution to the Holy Prophet has been held by Ibn Kathir as da'if, weak, but it is also reported as a saying of Sayyid in the humor, may Allah be pleased with him, and Ali, may Allah be pleased with him. It explains these 4 things as follows. The expression Darya scatters refers to the wind that blows up dust. The expression Hamalati Wikran literally denotes burden bearers and contextually refers to the clouds that carry the burden of water or rain. The expression Jariyati Yusran refers to the ships that sail smoothly and with ease in the water. And the expression Mukasim, the Tayamran, refers to the angels who distribute to all creatures their sustenance and water, and different kinds of difficulties and comfort as determined by Allah's orders and decrees. Ibn Kathir, Qutubai and Ad-Durul Manthur quote these narrations both as Marmakwaf.
And those clouds carrying a load of water.
See Surah Adh-Dhariyat, Ayah 1, for the Tafsir.
And those ships sailing with ease.
See Surah Adh-Dhariyat, Ayah 1, for the Tafsir.
And those angels apportioning each matter.
See Surah Adh-Dhariyat, Ayah 1, for the Tafsir.
Indeed, what you are promised is true.
See Surah Adh-Dhariyat, Ayah 1, for the Tafsir.
And indeed, the recompense is to occur.
See Surah Adh-Dhariyat, Ayah 1, for the Tafsir.
By the heaven containing pathways.
By the sky having paths, you are involved in a contradictory statement. Surah Adh-Dhariyat, Ayah 7-8. Hubuk is the plural habaka, and primarily denotes thin irregular lines or streaks on fabrics when woven. They resemble tracks and pathways, therefore pathways are also referred to as hubuk in Arabic. Most interpreters take this to be the meaning in this context. Some scholars say that the tracks refer to pathways used by the angels for entrance and exit. Others say that the tracks or paths of heaven are those orbits of planets and stars that are visible in the sky. As the streaks of the woven fabric is its beauty, some scholars tend to interpret the verse as by the heaven full of beauty, grace, magnificence, and perfection. Differing beliefs of the pagans. You are involved in a contradictory statement. Surah Adh-Dhariyat, Ayah 8. Surah Adh-Dhariyat, Ayah 7 was an oath, and this verse is the statement for which oath is sworn. Apparently, the verse addresses the pagans of Makkah who assigned contradictory attributes to the Holy Prophet, calling him at different times a madman, a sorcerer, a poet, and other discordant names. According to another possible interpretation, the verse addresses the entire humankind, Muslims as well as non-believers. Thus, contradictory statement would mean that a sector believed in the Holy Prophet and accepted him, and another sector rejected him and opposed him. Mashari.
Indeed, you are in differing speech.
See Surah Adh-Dhariyat, Ayah 7, for the Tafsir.
Deluded away from the Quran is he who is deluded.
Turned away from this Quran is the one who is turned away. Surah Adh-Dhariyat, Ayah 9. The word yuvik literally denotes to turn away. The pronoun in an, who has 2 possibilities. One, it could be referring to Quran and Rasul. In this case, the verse would mean that only the person turns away from the Quran who has been destined to be deprived of their guidance. And 2, the pronoun could be referring to the contradictory statement, in which case the meaning would be, he who turns away from the truth because of your discordant thoughts is the one deprived of truth.
Destroyed are the falsifiers.
Death upon those who make conjectures. Surah Adh-Dhariyat, Ayah 10. The expression Karasan is the plural of Karas, which means one who estimates or say things by conjecture. In this context, the word refers to those stubborn and obstinate infidels who, without any reason or evidence, say discordant things about the messenger. Thus it would not be out of turn to interpret Karasan as Kadabun, meaning the great liars, as they are condemned, denounced, cursed, and imprecated, Majari, in this statement. After the mention of infidels, Several verses that follow describe the qualities of the righteous people and the pleasant consequences of their righteousness.
Who are within a flood of confusion and heedless.
See Surah Adh-Dhariyat, Ayah 10, for the Tafsir.
They ask, when is the day of recompense?
See Surah Adh-Dhariyat, Ayah 10, for the Tafsir.
It is the day they will be tormented over the fire.
See Surah Adh-Dhariyat, Ayah 10, for the Tafsir.
And will be told, taste your torment. This is that for which you were impatient.
See Surah Adh-Dhariyat, Ayah 10, for the Tafsir.
Indeed, the righteous will be among gardens and springs.
See Surah Adh-Dhariyat, Ayah 10, for the Tafsir.
Accepting what their Lord has given them. Indeed, they were before that doers of good.
See Surah Adh-Dhariyat, Ayah 10, for the Tafsir.
They used to sleep but little of the night.
Remaining awake at night for voluntary prayers. They used to sleep little in the night. Surah Adh-Dhariyat, Ayah 17. The imperfect verb yaja'an is derived from the infinitive huju, which means to sleep at night. The verse describes the quality of the righteous believers is that they spend their nights in voluntary worship of Allah. They sleep little at night and remain awake during the greater part of it. Ibn Jarir preferred this interpretation. Sayyidina Hassan Basri, may Allah have mercy on him, said, the righteous perform voluntary night prayers and do not sleep during the night except a little. Sayyidina Ibn Abbas, may Allah be pleased with him, Qatada, Mujahid, may Allah have mercy on him, and other leading scholars of tafsir have taken the particle ma in the sense of negation, that is, grammatically they treat it as ma nafia or negative particle, meaning they spend a little part of every night awake and not sleeping. They would worship Allah and perform voluntary prayers every night, even during a small part of the night. From this point of view, it includes all those people who pray to Allah during any part of the night, whether in the beginning or in the middle or at the end of it. Therefore, Sayyidina Anas ibn Malik, may Allah be pleased with him, in Abul Aliyah said, they used to pray between Maghrib and Isha. Imam Abu Ja'far Bakir said that this includes those people who do not sleep before Isha prayer. Ibn Kathir, Hassan Basri, may Allah have mercy on him, reports from Al-Baf ibn Qais, who used to say, when I compared my deeds with those of the inmates of paradise, I found that they are people who occupy a very high, lofty, and elevated status, and they are people whose deeds are incomparable, and our deeds cannot match theirs, because they sleep little at nights and worship much. When I compared my deeds with those of the inmates of hell, I found that they give the lie to Allah and His holy Prophet, and are skeptical about the hereafter from which Allah has protected us. Therefore, in comparison, our deeds match neither with those of the real inmates of paradise, nor praise be to Allah with those of the inmates of hell. Thus we learn that from the viewpoint of action, our position is what the Quran describes: they had mixed a good deed with another that was evil. Surah At-Tawbah, Ayah 102. Thus the best person amongst us is the one who would at least remain within the boundaries of this class of people. Abdurrahman ibn Zayd ibn Islam says that a member of the tribe Banu Tam said to my father, O Abu Yuzama, we do not find that quality in us which Allah mentions in describing the righteous, that is, they used to sleep little in the night, because our position is quite the contrary. We are very little awake at night to worship Allah. My father replied, good tidings for him who sleeps away when he feels sleepy and exercises righteousness when he is awake, that is, does not do any work that is contrary to Sharia. In other words, acceptance in the sight of Allah is not necessarily restricted to protracted waking hours at night for worship. If a person is impelled to sleep, and does not remain awake for long, but abstains from any sinful activities when awake, he is also worthy of felicitation. Abdullah ibn Salam, may Allah be pleased with him, reports from the Holy Prophet, who said, O people, feed people, do good to kith and kin, greet each other with salam, pray at night while people are asleep, and you will enter paradise in peace. Ibn Kathir.
And in the hours before dawn they would ask forgiveness.
Merits of seeking forgiveness in the hours before dawn. And in the hours before dawn, they used to pray for forgiveness. Surah Adh-Dhariyat, Ayah 18. The word ashar is the plural of sahar, and it refers to the latter sixth part of the night. This verse speaks of the significance of seeking forgiveness in the latter part of the night. Another verse, Surah Al-Imran, Ayah 17, also speaks of the significance of seeking forgiveness at the last hours of the night thus, and who seek forgiveness in pre-dawn hours. Surah Al-Ran, Ayah 17. It is confirmed in the Sahih collections as well as others, from several companions, that the Messenger of Allah said, Allah, the Most High, descends each night to the lowest heaven when the last third of the night remains. He says, Is there anyone who is repenting, so that I may accept his repentance? Is there anyone seeking forgiveness, so that I may forgive him? Is there anyone asking of me, so that I may grant him his request? Here it may be noted that in this verse Allah is describing the pre-on prayer of forgiveness of those righteous ones who, according to the preceding verse, are preoccupied for the major part of the night with the worship of Allah and sleep very little. Thus, there seems to be no link between their previous description and their description of asking for forgiveness in this verse, because forgiveness is sought when there are sins. People who spent the entire night in worshipping Allah, what does it mean to seek forgiveness of sins? The answer to this question is that these people have the true appreciation of Allah's majesty, dignity, and splendor, and they realize that there are shortcomings in their night-long worship. Therefore, they seek Allah's forgiveness for failing to perform His worship as due. Mashari.
And from their properties was given the right of the needy petitioner and the deprived.
Special guidance for philanthropists. And in their wealth, there was a right for the one who asks and the one who is deprived. Surah Adh-Dhariyat, Ayah 19. The word sail means the poor or needy who begs others, that is, he expresses his needs to people who help him. The word maram also refers to a poor or needy, but who cannot express his needs from a sense of self-respect or a feeling of shame, and thus is deprived of people's help. In this verse, another quality of the believers and the righteous is mentioned, that is, their quality of spending in charity in Allah's way. When spending, they do not only give to those who ask for help, but they also make it their responsibility to find out who are needy ones and do not disclose their needs to others. The purpose of the verse is to show that the believers and the righteous do not only perform bodily worship, such as prayers and remaining awake at night, but they also play a major role in performing pecuniary worship, and that besides helping the people who beg, they also look for and help those who out of self-respect do not express their needs to anyone. When mentioning this pecuniary worship, the expression used by the Quran is the following, and in their wealth there was a right. It means that when they meet the needs of the poor, they do not deem it a favor shown to them, but they appreciate that the poor have a right in the wealth Allah has blessed them with, and fulfilling one's right is not a favor, it is rather a duty and responsibility that one has to discharge.
And on the earth are signs for the certain in faith.
Allah's signs on the earth and in mankind. And in the earth there are signs for those who seek truth to believe. Surah Adh-Dhariyat, Ayah 20. In the preceding verses, in the first instance, a description of the infidels and rejectors, and their evil fate was given, as against those who flounder in the welter of wrong beliefs and evil deeds and deny the possibility of the day of judgment. The qualities of the believers and the righteous were subsequently given, and their elevated position was described. Now once again attention is drawn to those who deny the possibility of Judgment Day. They are invited to ponder on the signs of Allah on earth that testify to the might of the Creator and His boundless power, and thus the skeptics are advised to desist from denying the Judgment Day. In this way, the statement is connected to the preceding statement in Surah Adh-Dhariyat, Ayah 8. You are involved in contradictory statement. Tafsir Majari is of the view that this verse too describes the quality of the believers and the righteous. The word muqinin, those who have certainty of faith, refers to the same God-fearing people mentioned in an earlier verse. The sense is that these people keep pondering on the divine signs spread on earth and in their own beings, and it increases their belief. In another verse they are described as dot and ponder on the creation of the heavens and the earth. Surah Al-Ran, Ayah 191. Allah's signs on earth include what Allah has placed on the earth, the various plants, animals, valleys, mountains, deserts, rivers, and oceans. He also created mankind with different languages, colors, intentions, and abilities, and a variety among them, differences in the power of understanding and comprehension, their deeds, and ultimately earning happiness or misery. Allah put every organ in their bodies in its rightful place, where they most need it to be.
And in yourselves, then will you not see?
Thus Allah says, and in your own selves. So, do you not perceive? Surah Adh-Dhariyat, Ayah 21. Out of the innumerous signs of Allah's power which are present everywhere in the universe, including the heavenly and celestial beings and creatures, only those signs are referred to here which are available on earth. because they are very close to man's experience, and he resides and moves about among them. The present verse now speaks of man himself. Man is required to ponder on his own body, its limbs and organs. Every single part of the body testifies to the boundless wisdom of Allah, and it will make him realize that his small being represents and encompasses almost all the divine signs that are scattered in the vast universe. That is why man is termed as the universe in miniature, because all types of creation are present in his existence. If a man thinks of all phases he has passed through right from his birth till his death, he may perceive the power of Allah Ta'ala as if he discerns him clearly. The development of the sperm and embryo in the womb. Human microscopic sperm and egg is an amazing phenomenon. It is made up of foodstuff and tenuous particles from various parts of the world. If the sperm establishes itself in the mother's womb, then more material is added to it, and it changes into a red clot. It then changes and becomes a shapeless lump of flesh, like a piece of meat with no form or shape. Then out of the shapeless lump bones are fashioned. Then the bones are clothed with flesh, and it starts to take on a form and shape, developing a head, arms, chest, stomach, thighs, legs, feet, and all its members. A wonderful brain is placed under its skull, in whose complicated layers lie all mental abilities. Thus equipping it, Allah sends an angel to it who breathes the soul into it. After the completion of its creation, it is brought into this world, where he develops from infancy to full adulthood to old age. Then he gradually progresses from zero level of knowledge and consciousness to an intelligent, rational, and active being. The human forms and shapes are so different that no two faces are identical in millions and billions of people, even in a small area. Furthermore, there are differences in their temperaments, dispositions, and habits. There is unity in this diversity. All this is the marvel of the perfect power of Allah, who has neither partners nor rivals. Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 14. Man experiences all this not from outside himself, but within himself, day and night. Only a person who is absolutely blind and senseless will ever deny the existence of Allah. Therefore, at the conclusion of the verse, the Quran poses the rhetorical question, so do you not perceive? A person need not be very intelligent to understand the facts of life. If his sight is intact, he can arrive at the right conclusion.
And in the heaven is your provision, and whatever you are promised.
And in the heavens there is your sustenance, and all that you have been promised. Surah Adh-Dhariyat, Ayah 22. The plain and simple interpretation of this is that in heaven here means what has been written in the preserved tablet, Al-Lawh Mahfuz. It is clear that man's sustenance, what has been promised to him, and whatever its consequences will be, are all preserved in the preserved tablet. Sayyidina Abu Said Khudri, may Allah be pleased with him, reports that the Holy Messenger said, even if someone tries to avoid and run away from his designated sustenance, he will not succeed, because his sustenance will pursue him just as he cannot run away from his death. Hutubite, some scholars say that sustenance here signifies rain. In this case, heaven will not refer to the body, arch, or vault of the sky. It refers to anything that hangs overhead and covers things in its shade, including the celestial atmosphere and clouds from where the rain falls. The expression, all that you have been promised, refers to paradise and its delights. Allah, the pure and exalted, knows best.
Then by the Lord of the heaven and earth, indeed it is truth, just as sure as it is that you are speaking.
Yet the day of recompense is a reality, as sure as that you speak. Surah Adh-Dhariyat, Ayah 23. It means that all of the matters relating to judgment, resurrection, and recompense that they have been promised shall certainly occur. Therefore it is the truth, there being no doubt about it. So they should not doubt its coming, just as they do not doubt that they can speak. There are 5 physical sensations of perception: sight, hearing, tasting, feeling, and smelling. Here speaking has been singled out, probably because the faculty of speech is the only one where there can be no trace of deception or illusion, whereas the other sensations, on account of ailments, can get contorted. Differences in hearing and seeing are known. In sickness, the sensation of tasting gets reversed or distorted in some other way. Sometimes sweet things taste bitter and bitter things taste sweet. Qutubbai.
Has there reached you the story of the honored guests of Abraham?
See Surah Adh-Dhariyat, Ayah 23, for the Tafsir.
When they entered upon him and said, "We greet you with peace," he answered, "And upon you peace. You are a people unknown."
Comforting the Messenger of Allah, we greet you with salam. He said, "Salam on you." Surah Adh-Dhariyat, Ayat 25. The angels greeted him with Solomon in the accusative case, whereas Holy Prophet Ibrahim responded to the greeting in the nominative case thus, Solomon. The nominative case in Arabic is a nominal sentence which carries the sense of greater strength, continuity, and persistence. The Quranic injunction is that when you are greeted with a salutation, greet one better than it. So Holy Prophet Ibrahim, the friend of Allah, chose a better reply, implementing Allah's command. Reciprocating the greeting with the term Solomon is stronger than the greeting using the term Solomon. They are unknown people. Surah Adh-Dhariyat, Ayah 25. The word munkar, the letter M carrying dama, and the letter K carrying fath means unknown. As sin or sinful work is unknown in Islam, it is also referred to as munkar. The angels came to Holy Prophet Ibrahim in the image of handsome young, wonderfully graceful men, therefore he could not recognize them. He thought to himself that these are strangers and said to himself, they are unknown to me. Or it is possible that he might have mentioned this to the guests in the form of a question, and the purpose might have been to find out who they were.
Then he went to his family and came with a fat roasted calf.
Then he slipped off to his home. Surah Adh-Dhariyat, Ayah 26. Reghat is derived from rob, which means to slip out quietly. In other words, Holy Prophet Ibrahim discreetly went in the house in haste to arrange for meal for his guests, so that they do not sense it. Otherwise they would have stopped him. Rules of entertaining guests. Ibn Kathir says that this verse indicates proper manners for entertaining guests. Holy Prophet Ibrahim, the host, did not first mention that he would make food for them. He slipped out quietly and brought the food to his guests quickly, while they were unaware that it was being prepared for them. Rather, he discreetly had it prepared and placed before them. He prepared the best kind of food he had, a young, fat roasted calf. Moreover, he did not place the food far from them and invite them to come close to it to eat. Rather, he placed it close to them, brought it close to them, and refrained from ordering them to eat. Instead, he invited them politely, kindly, and cordially to partake. Thus, would you not eat? This statement in the form of a question is similar to one of us saying to a guest, would you kindly partake of it, even if you are not hungry, at least for my sake?
And placed it near them. He said, will you not eat?
See Surah Adh-Dhariyat, Ayah 26, for the Tafsir.
And he felt from them apprehension. They said, fear not, and gave him good tidings of a learned boy.
So he felt some fear in his heart. Surah Adh-Dhariyat, Ayah 28. When the guests did not eat the food, the Holy Prophet Ibrahim conceived fear of them. In those days it was the custom of the noble people to entertain the guests who were expected to accept the hospitality of the host. If they did not, the host would become apprehensive that there is some danger afoot. Probably they are enemies who came to cause some kind of trouble for them. In those days, even the rogues and wrongdoers had the noble quality that they would not cause any harm to anyone whose food they had eaten. Hence refusing to eat was a sign of hostility or danger.
And his wife approached with a cry of alarm and struck her face and said, I am a barren old woman.
So his wife came forward with a clamor. Surah Adh-Dhariyat, Ayah 29. The word Sarah means vociferation, or clamor, or most vehement clamor of crying. Sarir is the sound of a pen when it is writing. When Sayyidat Sarah, may Allah be pleased with him, heard that the angels were giving good news to her husband Ibrahim of the birth of his son, she thought that this news was as good to her as it was to her husband, for the son would be theirs, and therefore they both were getting some good news. As a result, she involuntarily screamed loudly. She struck herself upon her forehead as women do when confronted with an amazing thing and slapped her own face and said, a barren old woman? Meaning, how can I give birth while I am an old woman? And even when I was young I was barren and could not have children. The angels reply that Allah has power over all things, and therefore this would happen even so. This is how your Lord has said. Thus when Holy Prophet Ishaq was born, Sayyidah Sarah, may Allah be pleased with him, was 99 years old, and Holy Prophet Ibrahim was 100 years old. Qatubai.
They said, thus has said your Lord. Indeed, he is the wise, the knowing.
When, in the course of the conversation, Holy Prophet Ibrahim discovered that the guests were angels, he asked them what was their mission, and they replied that they had been sent to the people of Lut to destroy them as a punishment for their unspeakable crime. They would be stoned to death, but not with large stones.
Abraham said, Then what is your business here, O messengers?
See Surah Adh-Dhariyat, Ayah 30, for the Tafsir.
They said, Indeed, we have been sent to a people of criminals.
See Surah Adh-Dhariyat, Ayah 30, for the Tafsir.
To send down upon them stones of clay.
See Surah Adh-Dhariyat, Ayah 30, for the Tafsir.
Marked in the presence of your Lord for the transgressors.
Small pebbles of baked clay would be sent down upon them, marked with your Lord for the transgressors. Surah Adh-Dhariyat, Ayah 34, that is, pebbles conspicuously marked by Allah. Some scholars say that each stone bore the name of the person with which he was to be destroyed, and if he ran in any particular direction, he was pursued by the same stone. Other verses say that these people were destroyed by Jibril's turning their territory upside down. The two descriptions of the punishment are not mutually contradictory. Probably, this stoning incident took place first, and then the earth was turned upside down.
So we brought out whoever was in the cities of the believers.
See Surah Adh-Dhariyat, Ayah 34, for the Tafsir.
And we found not within them other than a single house of Muslims.
See Surah Adh-Dhariyat, Ayah 34, for the Tafsir.
And we left therein a sign for those who fear the painful punishment.
See Surah Adh-Dhariyat, Ayah 34, for the Tafsir.
And in Moses was a sign when we sent him to Pharaoh with clear authority.
After the mention of the people of Lot, the people of Musa, Pharaoh, and others are taken up briefly. When Musa delivered the message of truth to Pharaoh, the latter reacted thus, so he turned away along with his chiefs. Surah Adh-Dhariyat, Ayah 39. The original word used for his chiefs is Rukn, which means power. Here it is used to refer to his army and chiefs of his government. In this story of Lot he has been mentioned saying, or that I had the backing of a strong group. The word Rukn is used there in the same sense. See Maarif-ul-Qur'an, Vol. 4 p. 658-661, or that I had the backing of some strong group. After this, the stories of the people of Ad, Thamud, and Nuh are told. These stories were narrated many times before.
But he turned away with his supporters and said, A magician or a madman.
See Surah Adh-Dhariyat, Ayah 38, for the Tafsir.
So we took him and his soldiers and cast them into the sea, and he was blameworthy.
See Surah Adh-Dhariyat, Ayah 38, for the Tafsir.
And in Ad was a sign, when we sent against them the barren wind.
See Surah Adh-Dhariyat, Ayah 38, for the Tafsir.
It left nothing of what it came upon, but that it made it like disintegrated ruins.
See Surah Adh-Dhariyat, Ayah 38, for the Tafsir.
And in Thamud, when it was said to them, Enjoy yourselves for a time.
See Surah Adh-Dhariyat, Ayah 38, for the Tafsir.
But they were insolent toward the command of their Lord, so the thunderbolt seized them while they were looking on.
See Surah Adh-Dhariyat, Ayah 38, for the Tafsir.
And they were unable to arise, nor could they defend themselves.
See Surah Adh-Dhariyat, Ayah 38, for the Tafsir.
And we destroyed the people of Noah before. Indeed, they were a people defiantly disobedient.
See Surah Adh-Dhariyat, Ayah 38, for the Tafsir.
And the heaven we constructed with strength, and indeed we are its expander.
Proofs of Allah's oneness abound in the creation of the heavens and earth. The preceding verses mention the reality of the hereafter and the judgment day, and the punishment of those who denied the reality. The present set of verses reaffirm the perfect power of Allah, reminding us about the reality of the day of resurrection and allaying the doubt and suspicion of those who deny the reality. It proves the oneness of Allah and reiterates emphatically to believe in the Messenger. And the sky was built by us with might, and indeed, we are the one who expands. Surah Adh-Dhariyat, Ayah 47. The word aidin, according to Say, Ibn Abbas, may Allah be pleased with him, means strength or power in this context.
And the earth we have spread out, and excellent is the preparer.
See Surah Adh-Dhariyat, Ayah 47, for the Tafsir.
And of all things we created two mates. Perhaps you will remember.
See Surah Adh-Dhariyat, Ayah 47 for the Tafsir.
So flee to Allah. Indeed, I am to you from Him a clear warner.
So flee to Allah. Surah Adh-Dhariyat, Ayah 50. Say, Ibn Abbas, may Allah be pleased with him, said, it means, flee from your sins and take shelter in Allah for repentance. Abu Bakr, Waraq, and Junaid Baghdadi said that the base self of man and the devil invite him to commit sins, and they deceive him. He needs to take refuge in Allah, who will protect him against their evil. Qatubai.
And do not make as equal with Allah another deity. Indeed, I am to you from Him a clear warner.
See Surah Adh-Dhariyat, Ayah 50 for the Tafsir.
Similarly, there came not to those before them any messenger, except that they said, a magician or a madman.
See Surah Adh-Dhariyat, Ayah 50 for the Tafsir.
Did they suggest it to them? Rather, they themselves are a transgressing people.
See Surah Adh-Dhariyat, Ayah 50 for the Tafsir.
So leave them, O Muhammad, for you are not to be blamed.
See Surah Adh-Dhariyat, Ayah 50 for the Tafsir.
And remind, for indeed the reminder benefits the believers.
See Surah Adh-Dhariyat, Ayah 50 for the Tafsir.
And I did not create the jinn and mankind except to worship me.
60. The purpose of jinns and mankind's creation. And I did not create the jinns and the human beings except that they should worship me. Surah Adh-Dhariyat, Ayah 56. This apparently may raise two questions. One, if Allah has created a creature for a particular task, and it is His will that it should perform that task. Rationally, it is impossible for it to deviate from that task, because doing anything contrary to the will of Allah is inconceivable. 2. The purpose of jinns and man's creation has been restricted to the worship of Allah, where, as there are many other underlying reasons and benefits in their creation. Scholars have made different approaches to solve these problems. Some say that this verse pertains to the believers only, that is, only believing jinn and believing mankind are created for worship and for no other task. It is obvious that the believers are more or less steadfast to worship. This is the view of Dahak, Sufyan Thawri, and others. According to one version of Sayyidina Ibn Abbas, may Allah be pleased with him, the word mu'min does occur in the verse thus, and I have not created the believing jinn and mankind except that they should worship me. This version supports the view that the verse is only in connection with the believers. Another answer to the question, given by Maulana Ashraf Ali Thanawi, may Allah have mercy on him, is that Allah has commanded all to worship, but at the same time He has equipped them with free will. Some of them exercised their God, given free will correctly, and chose to worship Him, but others used their God, given free will incorrectly, and deviated from worshipping Him. This is what Sayyidina Ali, may Allah be pleased with him, has said, as quoted by Bakhawi. Tafsir Majari gives a plain and simple explication of this verse. Allah has equipped every jinn and man with the innate capacity to worship. Some use the capacity rightly and succeed, while others employ it wrongly in sinning and fulfilling their base emotions, and thus destroy it. The messenger is reported to have said, every child is born according to the fitrah, but his parents cause him to deviate from the unadulterated propensity and turn him into a Jew or a Christian or a Majin. According to the majority of the scholars, fitrah here refers to the religion of Islam. Just as this tradition tells us that every man is born with a natural capacity for Islam and true faith, but his parents adulterate and destroy the capacity and put him onto the ways of disbelief. In the same way, the phrase "except that they should worship me" could mean that every member of jinn and mankind has the natural inborn capacity to worship. Allah, the pure and exalted, knows best. Answer to the second question is that bringing any creation into being for the purpose of worship does not necessarily imply that they are unfit for other functions of life.
I do not want from them any provision, nor do I want them to feed me.
I do not want any sustenance from them, nor do I want them to feed me. Surah Adh-Dhariyat, Ayah 57. It means that by creating jinn and mankind, Allah does not stand in need of them, so that they will have to produce sustenance for Him or for themselves, or for any of His other creations, or that they earn to feed Him. This has been stated according to the general trend of people. The most affluent of men buys a slave and spends on him not for nothing, but but he has an underlying purpose. He expects the slaves to work for him, help him in his tasks, fulfill his needs, and earn livelihood for his master. Allah is immaculate, pure, and above all these things. In creating human beings, He does not profit or benefit anything.
Indeed, it is Allah who is the continual provider, the firm possessor of strength.
See Surah Adh-Dhariyat, Ayah 57, for the Tafsir.
And indeed, for those who have wronged is a portion of punishment, like the portion of their predecessors, so let them not impatiently urge me.
The word Danab in verse Surah Adh-Dhariyat, Ayah 59 is with laugh on the letter dh, which means a large bucket that is kept at the common wells of the locality for the purpose of drawing and filling water. A turn is designated for each of the persons using the large common bucket to draw out water from the well, so that he is conveniently able to fill it in his own private bucket in his turn. Thus the word here is employed in the sense of turn, share or portion. Hence it is translated above as follows: so, those who did wrong deserve a share in the punishment, like the share of their companions. The verse purports to warn the disbelievers that the past communities were given an opportunity to work. When each of these communities did not take advantage of the opportunity in their respective time and persisted in their evil course, they were punished and destroyed. Likewise, the present pagans of Makkah are designated a time and opportunity. If they do not take advantage of the allocated time and opportunity and persist in their paganism, they will be punished in this world. Otherwise, the punishment of the hereafter is most certain. They will thus meet with a fate similar to that of the opponents of former prophets. Like them, they will come to a sad end. This verse, in which the word Danibun occurs, indicates that they will receive their due share of the torment, and it will surely come in due time, so they should not ask for it to be hastened on or rushed to them.
And woe to those who have disbelieved from their day which they are promised.
See Surah Adh-Dhariyat, Ayah 59, for the Tafsir.